Okay, so you should have your table out. We're going to graph our results with our data table information. So let's look at this first round here. We started with 4 of each kind of bird, okay? And how many loops did we capture by the 4th prong in round 1? We had 161. Oops, sorry. There you go. Can you see that? 161. So 4 prong, we had 161. 2 prong, we had 21. And 1 prong, we had 29. Okay, we talked about why perhaps there was a situation where the 2 prong couldn't get them very easily just because the loops didn't fit on the fork tong. Okay, round 2, we had, so this time in round 2, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-prong birds, and our total was 80. Round 2, we had 1 with 26. And then, so we noticed kind of halfway through the game, a lot of people were sliding them off the table into your cup against the rules. And I really didn't emphasize this as much as I should have. You can't interfere with other people, and you had to keep your cup upright and scoop in. So if you didn't do that, it skewed the results. So some of this data is, we're just going to kind of like throw it out because it's not as meaningful as if we had all followed the same rules. Yeah. 80, and what was I saying? 80? 80, thank you. I had to talk and forgot my zero. And then round 2, for the 1 prong, we had 28 with 3 birds. Okay, 3 birds, 28. Round 3, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we saw a little bit of a dip. We're competing, and it was getting harder to compete at the table. But we still had 220 for our loops. So getting kind of better at it. Then around 3 here we had 30 with 2. Okay. And round 3 we had 32 with 2 birds. So even when we think about how much food they acquired, our 4-pronged birds were still getting hands down more because they had more available. Now, so we had this population of 7. Oh, it dipped to 5. Does it happen in nature ever? Yeah. Right. Yes, absolutely. There are different reasons why population trends happen. A dip could mean a really cold winter, right? Or a disease infected a population, right? So we're not always going to see this exponential growth where only positive numbers are going to happen. We see it's a trend. It's not linear. Okay, round 4, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4 prongs with 127. So we had lots of birds, though. That was the hardest part, trying to compete for the space to eat. Then we saw extinction here. Then we saw for 1 prong, 2 birds getting 40. Still not terrible, but not anywhere near 127. And finally, for our 5th round, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 248. Tons of loops. 2 prongs were extinct, so they still had 0. And our 2 got 41. Okay, so if this trend continued, if we had time to play many, many more rounds, I'm sure we would have found the trend. Especially if I think another factor is we kind of changed out people. And if you stayed in the game the whole time, you got better and better and better, right? You kind of figured out some strategies. So if I'd kept the same people the entire time and said, hey, you're like a population, you're 4-prongers, you're 2-prongers, and then when we repopulated, I just pulled from that group, we might have seen a different trend. So now we're going to graph this, and you have a graph in your book on the next page. We're going to treat these squares as increments of 10, and we're going to use a triangle for our 4-prong birds a